Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I want to talk about the exact sales process that I use to close over 6 figures in deals in 2023 thus far. So in this video, it's going to be a full series. We're going to do part 1 today. And in this part, we're going to be talking about the discovery process, which is the first phase of the sales process. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Hey, what's going on guys? As I said, we're going to be talking about the exact sales call process that I use to make 6 figures thus far in 2023. And this is part 1 of this video. All right. We're going to be talking about the discovery process today. All right. So the sales call process that I use personally for my agency and that I teach in my program is called the 2-3 call close framework. And I call it that because it can either be a 2 call close or a 3 call close. Now in B2B sales, this is totally normal and can even go more calls because there are more people that are involved in a business's decision-making process. All right. Now this is the whole outline of the framework. So number 1 is the discovery call. Number 2 is the proposal call / close if it happens. And then number 3 is the closing call / onboarding. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about number 1, which is the discovery call. Okay. So the discovery call is the first call that you're going to have with the prospect. All right. The main objective of this call is to find out if the prospect is qualified for your offer and solution and to figure out why they got on the call. All right. So notice my choice of language here. All right, I said the main objective is this call is to find out if the prospect is actually qualified for your offer, right? And figure out why they got on the call. We're not trying to get them to buy. We're not desperately trying to sell anyone who hops on a call with us. When we go that approach, we're not going to close the deal because it comes across as super needy, desperate, and unprofessional. We don't want to do that. We want to stay away from that. We want to know if the prospect is a right fit for us, right? If they even have a need for lead generation services, okay? We want to keep that frame always and keep that abundance mentality. Now, let's get into the outline of exactly how the call works. So the first step of the call is agenda. Then the first step of the call is intro, Number 2 is we set the agenda. Number 3 is you ask fact-based questions. Number 4 is you ask process-based questions. Then you get into the pain. Then you ask about their goals. Then you ask about their decision-making process. And then you talk about your offer and your pricing. And then lastly, you book next steps and explain how your process works. All right. So this is the 9-step process on how the discovery call works and how I do them for my agency. All right. So let's get right into it. So for the intro, I like to keep my intro super short. I know that some salespeople, they like to build rapport and, like go back and forth, but I find that with my style of sales and my personality, I just like to keep it super short and get right into it. So I'll just be like, hey, John, how are you doing today? Hey, how are you? Be like, hey, I'm good. How are you? I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm good as well. I'm good as well. And then I'll just smoothly transition into setting the agenda right away. And I want to note something. Don't ever let the prospect set the agenda. You must take the frame and take charge on the sales call. You have to be the one who's asking the questions to learn more about their business, not the other way around. There's going to be a room for a Q&A towards the end when you finish your questions and you're kind of talking about your offer. But to start off, you should be asking them the questions. All right. And then you smoothly transition into setting the agenda. So this is where I state the agenda of the call and tell the prospect how it's going to go. So I'll be like, hey, yeah, John, I'm good as well. So John, the way that I typically structure these calls to work best for us both is I'll just ask a couple questions so I can learn a bit more about what you guys do and what you're currently doing for business development. Then if it seems like we'd be a good fit to help you with that problem, we could talk a bit more about what we offer and all that stuff. But first, I'll just give you the floor for a bit and let you just tell me a little bit more about what really motivated you to get on this call with me today. Okay. And then you let the prospect speak. This is when he's going to kind of be like, oh, I'm having issues with this, or I'm having issues with this, right? At this point, the prospect should definitely tell you some variation of, I need more sales calls on my calendar every month. All right. They might not say it in those exact words, but that should be basically what the gist of this call is. All right. If not, they're not qualified and it's a waste of your time. You should just hop off the call there and say, hey, I don't think this is a good fit. This is not what we focus on, hop off the call. Okay. But if it's some variation of that, then keep going. All right. If yes, then let's move on. Then you start to ask some fact-based questions. All right. This is where you start to little poke and prod a bit at their current situation and just see what you can find out. So John, how many sales calls are you booking right now every single month? Oh, okay. Gotcha. So can you tell me a little bit more about your ICP and target market? Like who are you guys targeting? All right, cool. And do you guys have any case studies, testimonials, and social proof from that ICP? Okay, got it. Awesome. Now, can you also give me like a little bit of a ballpark figure of how many leads you guys are closing out of like every 10 that are warm and qualified? For example, like out of a campaign, let's say that 10 people respond and say they're interested in having a call. Those are become sales qualified leads, or MQLs, marketing qualified leads, right? How many of those get to the meeting stage and then the closing stage? And then how many of those usually turn into revenue? Okay. So you're basically asking these questions because what these questions do is it proves your competence. It shows that you're competent in what you do, and it shows that you're asking intelligent questions. These are smart, intelligent questions that you need to know to get an accurate, idea of what they're doing in their business. All right. And then after they answer that, you go back and forth with them. Then you start to ask some process-based questions. Then we ask about what they're currently doing. So, hey, can you walk me through your current lead generation process? And yeah, what have you tried in the past to get more leads? And can you talk a little bit more about how your pipeline works? Like, who takes the first meetings? How many calls till you have a close? And like, do you follow a specific sales framework? See, so you're just basically getting to know more about how their business works, how they're doing business development, see if they're competent at sales, right? All that sort of stuff. And by asking these questions, they're already going to look at you like, oh, wow, he's asking good questions. Like, he's actually a competent salesperson. He's a competent business owner. All right. Because the way that you show your competence is not by talking about the features or your offer or your pricing point or anything. It's based on the type of questions that you ask. That's how you're going to stand out. All right. And then after this, we want to transition a little bit into pain. Okay. So this is where we need to make it sting a little bit, but we do it nonchalantly and without pressing down on it. So we kind of just mention their inefficiencies casually and let's let them internalize that they have a problem. All right. So after they've asked us, after we've basically gotten the answer to all these questions, we'll basically say something like this, like, so John, I just want to do a recap here if you can confirm for me. You've mentioned that you're only booking 10 sales calls every month and that only about like 2 to 3 of those are qualified and that your closing rate is about 10%, right? So that you're only closing about 1 customer every single month. And you also said that you tried hiring a sales team a couple months ago, but they really didn't get you guys any results and you spent over $30,000 on that. Is that correct? Yes, that's correct. See, you notice how I'm not really like saying, oh, you have a problem here, John. This is crazy. This sucks. Like, wow, you have a big issue. I'm kind of just repeating back what they said to me and just making them feel like, oh, damn. Like, yeah, that doesn't really sound too good. Okay. And then we want to kind of transition into our goals. And here's where we transition into like what their desired solution is. It's like, okay, gotcha. Cool, John. So can I ask like, how many calls do you want to be booking every single month? How many customers do you want to be closing every single month? And then he's like, prospect will be like, oh, we need 15 to 20 sales calls a month so that we can get 2 to 3 more customers every single month consistently. And they're like, okay, gotcha. That sounds good. That sounds pretty normal. Sounds basically like what all of our clients want as well. And you'll be like, gotcha. So we can definitely help with that. And I'm going to explain what we do in just a second. But before I get into it, I wanted to ask, what does your guys' decision-making process look like internally? Does anyone else except you need to be involved in this process? Like, can you just walk me through that process a little bit more? And then I'll get right into why I think that we're a good fit and who else we've helped and what our offer is and all that sort of good stuff. Right? And then you let them tell you what it looks like for them. All right? You let them walk through their whole entire decision-making process. Okay? And then if you think they're a good fit and they're qualified, then you go into your offer and your pricing. So you can say, all right, so I do think we could help you based on what you told me. And then you want to reiterate their problems again. So you told me you're doing X right now. You told me you only have Y and you want to get to Z. All right. So how we do what we do and what we've done for other clients in the past is we set up your cold email systems and we book calls for you on your calendar consistently every single month using just cold email. Our pricing for this is $6,000 for a 3-month commitment. And our goal, which we're hitting for all of our clients consistently, is to add an extra 10 to 15 qualified sales calls to your calendar every month. Is that something that's in the budget for you guys? And then you shut up and wait for them to respond. Literally, just be quiet. And they'll probably say something like, yeah, that sounds all right, but I have to think about it and all that sort of stuff, which perfectly segues us into our last section of the call. Booking next steps and explaining how the sales process works. Then you go, he'd be like, oh yeah, I have to think about it. It's going to take me some time, send me over some stuff. Oh, yeah, of course, John. I'm really not expecting you to make a decision on the call today. So here's what we usually do. Let's set a time for the same time next week or whatever works for you. And in the meantime, I'll have my team put together and send over a personalized proposal based on what your needs are and how we can help, along with our standard agreement, just so that you can look through those terms. Then on our next call, I'll walk you through the full proposal and we could do a bit of a Q&A. And then we could talk about moving forward from there. How's that? And then they'll usually say yes. All right. Now, the most important part of this whole thing is that you always need to have next steps on the calendar. Don't let them say, yeah, I'll email you and set something up. Yeah, I'll get back to you. No. If they say something like that, this is what you say. Hey, John, let's just throw something tentative on the calendar. It doesn't even have to be 100%. We can change it around just so that it doesn't slip out of our minds and just so that we have like a placeholder there. Is that cool? And then if you say that as you pull up your calendar to book a time in, like, hey, just let me know what time works for you. Like, they won't say no. They just won't. All right. And then after you book in the call and they confirm it, you want to make sure they confirm it. Be like, hey, I just sent over that invite. Could you just let me know that you saw it? And then just reiterate. It's like, hey, so John, just before I let you go, I just want to tell you that, okay, what next steps are, I'm going to send over that proposal and the agreement. And then next week we'll go through everything. I'll walk you through it and then we can talk about next steps from there. All right. That's the whole discovery process on how it works. And then after this, what you have to do is you have to prepare for the proposal call. And I'll talk about that in part 2. That is it for this video. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and let me know if I should do a part 2. I want to do it on making the proposal presentation and the agreement, how to set all that stuff up. I want to do a whole entire series on my whole entire sales process. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.